times now. It's back to the run. Like, wow, he's back to the run. Having the boot straight drop in Don's. Clark Kent Daily Plan Tropolis time. I'll write these raps while I'm under the gun. I see you back to get you some. A little bit of this and a little bit of that. Pure, raw, uncut, rap. Back to the rhymes. Now's the time. Time to unwind because back to the rhymes. Back to the rhymes. Now's the time. Time to unwind because it's back to the rhymes. Wow, we got a glow. What do you think of the glow from that, yo? And then we got that, yo. All right. Let's get the list. Work through the plan here. Plan of action. School Us. Album sales. I did talk to someone this week, my man, about the album. I shared it with him. So I think he checked out a few songs. He didn't have a CD player, but he's able to check some out online. No sales, though. Number 2. I don't like sunsets much, country, whatnot. No updates on that. Number 3, YouTube channel. So I would say it's been a pretty good week. The YouTube short did good. The viewership's been good. Going back, it was like kind of a 10-day period. It was really strong. I think it leveled off here the last few days. I didn't get an update on how many times I've shared the video. I think it's been viewed 44 times. That's Saving Rabbi Yeshua. I'm saying it's in the 30s. That's how many times I've shared it. It might be approaching 40. But it's coming along. Don't know when I can record the next one. Will, but I've got about less than 2 months to get that done. And 4th of July is not an option for them. We'll be working on Juneteenth. I have that off. And so I'm out of town my next Saturday off. So we'll have to get creative. I'll say it like that. So yeah, we'll keep you posted. Keep an eye out for that to come out. I got a guy that works at the famous market in Seattle. I won't say the name because there's a couple different names for it, and that would be part of one of my content ideas. So we'll just leave it there. But it doesn't sound like he wants to become a part of it. But anyway, it got me thinking about it again. Yeah, and Instagram, no big deal. It's actually the first time I had no non-followers view the video, for sure, since I've been getting data on followers versus non-followers. So that was a good, for that, I would say it did good. 28 views from people, only people following me thus far. Nobody, I don't know how this thing works. I really don't. Maybe they don't like what the subject matter is, so they don't want to get out beyond the people who follow me, whereas other topics aren't as bad. I don't know how it works. I can't say it's so much better or so much worse, one rhyme to the next. TikTok was good, about 700, I think. Rules of engagement. I was having a conversation about that. I can't remember why. So I won't even get into rules of engagement. Nothing, no big deal, I'd say. Bellevue Ballers, working on that. Also, yeah, I'll come back to it. But yeah, so that's coming along. Music for Back to the Run. I didn't hear from Alex through my wife, and so I need to follow up with him. I guess, okay, so I had a conversation ministry-wise, Young Life, if you've heard of the ministry, the leader here locally, and trying to work with them. And there's a lot that, I think there's a lot of overlap, a lot of mutual interests and positive benefit and help one another. You just got to be mindful of the time. And then I'm also kind of volunteered myself to, well, let me get to that later. But
Yeah, let's see what happens. So he had him and his cohort have a song idea. I guess it's based on Mario and Luigi, and they kind of, he said, riffing on it. And if I could help him record that, as you might or might not know, that's been the most challenging thing for me. But it kind of gives me a little extra push to get with my man at CL Records and see about their recording setup. So at Intervision, so see how that's coming along. It's kind of, I work that in with Bellevue Ballers because that's kind of the main focus, but they all can work together. A lot of it's just connecting people who have mutual interests and growing together. I'll say it like that. Helping each other with goals, and hopefully the goals kind of head in the same direction. Merch. So here's my merch for that I wanted to display. I'm down to having one shirt in the room here, and I wore it for my pizza slapping. I don't have a photo, but I was slapping dough for the first time, and the last time I slapped dough, slapped out a pizza pie. I haven't lost it. I can say that it's like riding a bike, I guess. So friends of mine, from church, basically, she makes bread, and it was a bit of bread, no question. And she rocks the Goodyear Production shirt from time to time when she's making the bread, which I definitely appreciate. She's very supportive, even on Instagram, which I didn't have an opportunity to thank her for that, but I will in the future. It's just so nice and a pleasure to however we can help each other. When is the last time I slapped dough? I almost worked at Jet City here. I thought around the holiday I didn't. So I would say, man, kind of want to forget, but I'll say for sure, I'll say it could have been 4 or 5 years since I actually slapped dough. If you know what I mean, they're all into the spinning, and that's fine, but typically we're doing this. It doesn't look as cool as spinning it, but it gets the job done fast. And it stretched out, ate the pizza of the day, very good. We're going to work on the sauce next time to make that even better. That's very good. So as far as businesses, something I want to, something I've wanted to get into, obviously, having worked at so many pizza places, to have my own. It's not a have to. It'd be more like something I could do or help someone do or make a good pizza place. I've had the idea to have Asian styles in Japan and other places in Asia that have unique pizza combos that you don't see here that are very popular there, and there's no reason they couldn't be popular here. We have enough people from that part of the world here that would enjoy it, and absolutely nobody's making it. Nobody. I mean, you'd think everything's been tried, but no, definitely not. Like, how hard would that be? I don't think it'd be too hard. Now, when you start hearing about the cost of doing business just going through the roof, though, boy, who wants to really have a traditional business right now? It's pretty frightening. The costs. Okay. This hasn't gone up in cost, thankfully. Neither has Bellevue Ballers, hardly at all, if at all. Well, I'm thankful for this kind of stuff. But the cost of living certainly has gone up. All right. So Trump's going to thump. That's the goal. That's the plan. Everyone's saying it looks good. The polls are good, but we're just going to see. I'm telling you, there's going to be things we can't anticipate. We just hopefully we can overcome it. Whatever the craziness is going to be, you just don't know. I think it's good to expect the unexpected and see how we can deal with that. Okay. And then you will be glorified. So that's what I was going to say. So I'm helping with the Nikkei Manor ministry. I guess the leader now somehow. I'm busy, but I'm working with our church to help delegate more cleaning to some of the leaders in the Sunday schools for the kids to do just a little more cleaning, to take a little, make it so I would have to do a little less, and in exchange I'll help keep that ministry going, because you don't want to lose any ministry really. Why have it in the first place? You always got to ask that question. Well, it's because we want to reach people, many of them that may have a Japanese descent. That's the history of our church. And of course, these folks are towards the end. They're in a good place to reflect and think about what's next for them after life on this earth ends. And so we want to walk alongside them with that process, be there for them, help them find their home in the Lord, if they haven't already. And if they have, just affirm it and get them ready. You know, if that's where that, it depends how close they are. Some people can live in those places for years and years and years. Okay. But anyhow, I also want to say that we have part of it. It's like an hour long. You do a little singing and a message. So since I'm the leader, maybe I can help work on like this song here, "You Will Be Glorified," to see if we can do that song, for instance, in the ministry. I mean, I've never been in a situation where I've set the program for one of these. And so if we can figure out how to do it, we just got to get it to where it can be played sheet music wise, or the guitar, and that will be, I'll keep you posted on that. But I think, like I said, I don't want to get too, I mean, just like Young Life or any of these things, it's just how much time can I put towards it? Not a ton, but a little bit, and try to, assist, because a lot of people, I guess in this case, a lot of people do drive who participate in this, so they need rides. So how can you lead if you don't drive, or if you're really older? If I'm younger, I can drive. It's just dealing with a lot of, not a ton of discretionary time. In Young Life too, it's kind of like finding a place for those teenagers to meet. The church, most likely. But I guess I got to be, so for me, that's no problem. We can find a place. We're certainly going to go through the process of working on that. Shouldn't be a problem. But they've been making ministry work even without a regular meeting place, it seems. So that's good. That just shows when you get that lined up, it'll get even better, most likely. Okay. So I have a bit of a problem that next week I want to start my new song. I'm pretty much done with this song, but I will talk about some current event type stuff, and maybe I'll draw it out a little bit. Or to end this song, I'll put a lot of thought into these last few lines, phrases, whatever, bars. I'll go a little beyond the normal 16 or whatever, make the verse a little longer, but I'm not going to start a new verse, that's for sure. But for current events, I guess I could talk about, came up that, I guess someone, I guess he was a student at Garfield, got shot and killed. I don't think that's very common. That's very sad, tragic. I think I had read from one of the parents was quoted as saying it's the third time in a year they picked up their child from the school because of the lockdown from a shooting. Now, that's bad. My Will and myself, we went there back in the day. That never happened even once. A stepbrother who went there a few years after me, will say, after I had left, he showed up a few years. So we'll say I'd say after I got out of college is when he was going there. He did say that someone was shooting in there one time. Crazy. But that would have been in the mid-90s. So that's not good. And the thing I'll say, too, is in theory, so you have a lot of people saying, so a couple of things happen in that neighborhood, and our church is not far from Garfield. One, it was predicted that people who have moved out of that area would want to return, and that has certainly happened. It's more mixed. I mean, a lot more white people. It used to not be any white people. They live there now, but it's not the. It's still. They have a lot of low income housing. So even the ones who own houses, if they've been pushed out or driven out or priced out or whatever, not all of them have, but a lot of them have. But they still will continue to build low income housing. So as long as you have that, you can be certain you're going to have problems. And they don't call them the projects anymore, but it's pretty much the same thing. There was always an understanding that the projects is not the place to be. You know, it's so concentrated amount of people with subsidized housing or government housing, and you know, that's just there's too many problems there, right? To me, it's like a real failure of the city to even want to have low income housing, because it's almost like in perpetuity that there's going to be low income housing. There's never an end. That means whatever being taught from their schools isn't working. That's how I look at it. So I don't think that's really the way to go. You're running the school system and you're running housing, and they're both not doing very well. So there you go. And so that's what's going on. And so the people are like, some of the stuff I read was in the gun violence. Okay. I think a fair question is, how do these young people get a gun if you're 17 or 16 high schoolers? And then we got a lot of underage kids with guns out here. Well, how does that happen? Because they're not old enough to buy it legally. How does that happen? And I don't know if these folks think they could just wave a magic wand. I mean, if you think you can somehow get guns that are sold illegally on the black market out, can you get rid of drugs too? Okay, and would you secure the border to help, deal with that? If the border's open, how soon would it be if you were to get rid of every gun that's out here? More would show up, right? So that's basic stuff I think about. And that's the way it is. And then also, what is it? You can make guns from 3D printers. Forget it. So what I've heard is probably a better way to go is to have more people who are law-abiding people be armed and trained to deal with it. And so there were a lot of people who were like, we want more police. Well, that's nice to hear, because for a while we were hearing people want to get rid of the police. Now that there's all this going on, they want more police. Well, I'm glad that you want more police. I hope you've always said that, and I hope you've always felt like that, because I couldn't agree more. So yes, that would be good. And it's around, they kept saying it's around the Garfield Teen Center. It's the same old stuff, just like on the Ave. It's all around Jack in the Box. This isn't hard. There's hot spots, Garfield, you have Alder Street. That's where all the hippies were. And all the chill people, you chill, but then you go down by the pool. This is on the north side, down, in front of the main entrance by the gym. And all the, I guess the knuckleheads. So I can't even say I know where the teen center is. I suppose it's the Garfield Community Center. But if it's not there, well, okay, let me think about it. They had something going on in the, oh, wow. I'm kind of, I remember meeting up. I don't know if it was in the community center. Maybe it was. I thought they had something else. Wow, that's weird. I'm having a hard time remembering. I tried to make a song with some guys back in the day for the Sonics, and it was around. I can't remember if we were in the Garfield Community Center or did we go to some other part. Anyway, that's bad for me to not remember that, but I can't exactly remember. Wow. Okay. Anyhow, because so I'm having a hard time. And then they did the whole gym, so I can't even say what's going on right now. So anyhow, that's what's going on. So there you go. That's what's going on. And at the end of the day, here's what people want. Yeah, they can have their political opinion, but they sure as heck want their kids to be able to go to school without being in danger. That's probably just a basic, right? Who wants their kids to go to a school that's like a war zone? So yeah, maybe people do start to take their kids out of there. You know, that probably is real. I can imagine that. And I had heard there's probably a waiting list to get in there. So I don't know. Maybe that kind of works itself out. I don't know. So anyhow, that's what's the latest there. But you get these things coming around and go. They come around. But and again, people just react. Now my daughter got a phone case from her favorite political type commentator, Brett Cooper, that said, and I'm so thankful she's on board with that, philosophically consistent and politically incorrect. Now, what's better than being philosophically consistent? And I've said that all along. And I remember having this conversation during the Republican primaries back in 2016, you know. And I can't remember why I said it exactly, but I haven't changed, you know. Yes, be consistent, you know. So I'll stop, but let me finish this song. I'll perform the song, and then we'll see how we're doing. All right. Actually, I'll perform the song, then finish it, and then perform it again. So here we go. Ready? Sorry. Let's go to the top. Can't negotiate with terrorists. You give them an inch, a resolution ain't no cinch. A peaceful one, that is. What we have are two immovable forces. People giving advice from the high horses is compromising Israel's ability to defend prudent. If you think so, you ain't much of a student. Thinking you is on the right side of history. God said he'll win. Ain't no mystery. It's a mystery to me why more people can't see that inevitability, the way things gonna be. How can one negotiate for two states in good faith with a bad actor? You'll seal your fate. You just wait, not just for now, but for the hereafter. They call for death to Israel. Death to America would be the next chapter, because to give into these radicals who consider us Satan should be a factor. How could one negotiate for two states in good faith with a bad actor? You'll seal your fate. You just wait, not just for now, but for the hereafter. They call for death to Israel. Death to America would be the next chapter. Because to give into these radicals who consider us Satan should be a factor. How to best support our ally, our one true friend in that region of the world, certainly not by digging ourselves in an even deeper hole, burdening our kids and grandkids. Best believe that'll take its toll. On the whole, the death toll could easily be insurmountable. A spiritual death leading to a physical death. What would be left? No need to guess. I thought I was going to end it there, but I got to write a little more. It turns out that's okay. Yeah, I suppose 4 more lines for sure. And all I'm saying here is you go into so much debt personally, as a nation, and create a burden. It weakens your ability to focus on the Lord and things like that. You just get either depressed or overwhelmed because you're trying to work, whatever. Now, as a nation, it's hard to feel it, I guess, as directly, because if you're personally in debt, you feel that. But as a nation in debt, it's hard to, taxes are more, all these things, cost of living is going up, but it's still different. It's not as, there's not as direct a connection. So I don't know if people feel that way like you would if being in personal debt, but we are paying a toll on here. All right. The spiritual death leading to physical death what would be left? You don't need to guess. I'll save the guessing. for those who question. You can't say God's suggestions, they're commands, right? So let's try that. I'll save the guessing for those who question. Not God's. God don't make suggestions. Now, I could run that by Will later because sometimes things do get mistranslated. And I haven't heard him speak on this one, but I'm just going to go with it because we know about the 10 Commandments, and I haven't heard him say anything like, well, that's mistranslated. So we'll figure they're commands, right? Yeah, and I haven't heard anybody say otherwise. So there you go. I'll say the guessing for those who question God don't make suggestions. He gives commands. Understand. So there's songs that end like that. Understand. Okay. All right. So let's do this. And I'm going to start at 26:30. That's 3.5 minutes. Now let's see how long this takes. All right, here we go. Can't negotiate with terrorists. Give an inch. A resolution ain't no cinch. A peaceful one that is. What we have are two immovable forces. People giving advice from their high horses. It's compromising Israel's ability to defend prudent. If you think so, you ain't much of a student. Thinking you is on the right side of history. God said he'll win. Ain't no mystery. It's a mystery to me why more people can't see that inevitability. That's the way things gonna be. How can one negotiate for two states in good faith with a bad actor? You seal your fate. You just wait, not just for now, but for the hereafter. They call for death to Israel, death to America would be the next chapter. Because to give in to these radicals who consider us Satan should be a factor. How could one negotiate for two states in good faith with a bad actor? You'll seal your fate. You just wait, not just for now, but for the hereafter. They call for death to Israel, death to America would be the next chapter. Because to give in to these radicals who consider us Satan should be a factor. How to best support our ally, our one true friend in that region of the world. Certainly not by digging ourselves in an even deeper hole, burden our kids and grandkids. Best believe that'll take its toll. On the whole, the death toll could easily be insurmountable. A spiritual death leading to a physical death. What would be left? No need to guess. I'll save the guessing for those who question. God don't make suggestions. He gives commands. Understand? How can one negotiate for two states in good faith with a bad actor? You'll seal your fate. You just wait, not just for now, but for the hereafter. They come for death to Israel, death to America will be the next chapter. Because to give in to these radicals, consider us Satan should be a factor. How can one negotiate for two states in good faith with a bad actor? You'll seal your fate. You just wait, not just for now, but for the hereafter. They call for death to Israel, death to America would be the next chapter. Because to give in to these radicals who consider us Satan should be a factor. And that's straight lyrics, straight up 2 minutes. So you add a little music in the beginning and the end, we're beyond 2 minutes. So I have 1.5 minutes left to sign off. And I want to say thank you for joining the show. So what you want to keep an eye out for next week, different venue. I don't know who's going to participate. I'm very interested to see what happens. It's Father's Day next Sunday. I plan to celebrate with a new father. Hopefully get him on the thumbnail and let's say, hey, happy Father's Day, new father. And let's see if that happens. And we're going to work on the song. I don't know who's going to do what. He did say, my man Simon out there said he's glad for my reels because he thinks not too many people these days are putting out original content. They're just doing passive consuming. They're just scrolling. They're doing this. They're not creating. So he appreciated that I'm in the creative. I'm doing creative and he thinks that's a good thing. And I would want to ask him more about that at some point, because I hadn't thought too much about it. But I'm not on social media. I don't really scroll. I just whatever pops up I look at, and then that's it. So I don't scroll. I just look at what shows up. That's as far as I go, because that's good enough for me. And I guess you know what's good enough for you. Till next time, back to the rhymes.